Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Real Pod. Today, I'm bringing you a chaotic life update. I felt like that just made the most sense with everything going on everywhere right now. Also, with the fires, we had Real Pod episodes that were supposed to be recorded, postponed, of course. So, just thought that hopping on the mic and telling you how I'm feeling, how my family is, checking in, and then also shifting gears to let you know some other things that have been on my mind as we kind of start the year on a note that I think none of us expected. But I just wanted to connect with you guys and check in. I hope everyone listening is doing well, is safe and healthy. Most of you might know that I live in LA, so do my parents and my family. So we have been kind of living in and feeling the pain of the fires that have been happening in LA. Currently, as I record this, my brother, Jonathan, and Cubby are evacuated. 2 different times when this was all going on, Max and I went over with them with masks on and scarves, and it was really smoky and just really scary packing up any of their belongings that they wanted to take with them. And they came and slept at our place one night, then they were at my parents', and then my parents' place kind of came into a evacuation zone of sorts. On the map, parents basically are 1 street over from an evacuation zone. So from a zone that's literally like legally you need to be gone, my parents are 1 street over. Like you literally would turn off the street that is the border of the evacuation zone and onto my parents'. So that was unique because I feel like we were having just back and forth about whether they should evacuate or not. I'm always a rather be safe than sorry kind of gal. So I was huge team, like, let's all just go. Every single day it feels like it's getting worse. The evacuation zones just keep expanding. Unfortunately, though, there's been a lot of looting and robbery happening as well. People are taking advantage of the fact that people are leaving their houses for fear of the fire and robbing them. So my dad was like, I don't want to leave the house. And my mom doesn't want to leave my dad, which is like cute. But I'm also like, okay, guys. So there was just like a lot going on. One of the nights when the evacuation zone was expanding and reached the street next to my parents' street, that was the night that we went over there, and I posted that picture of the red sky, and it was really scary, and we packed up their keepsakes, and that was just like so dark. I mean, looking through my parents' house and their belongings and being like, what could we not live without? And then as I even say that, there's so many people who didn't even have the chance to make that choice. I saw a post the other day for a woman's GoFundMe who wasn't even able to go home. So everything other than the clothes on her body, and if she had a bag or a purse, everything is gone. Family memories, memorabilia. It is just so devastating and sad to think about. And I feel like the air in LA has just been full of heartbreak. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like you go outside, and even if it's sunny and it's clear skies, you know that you could get in your car and drive 10 minutes and it would look different and it would smell different and it would feel different. And even in where we live, Max and I fortunately are in an area of Santa Monica where the evacuation zones never reached us, not even a level 2. Of course, by like 3 or 4 streets, right? Everything's close, but we've kind of been the place where like our family has been coming to for like a home base, but it's just devastating. It's really devastating. I don't think this is how anyone thought the year would start. I saw someone even post, can February 1 be the new Jan 1? And it's like, yes, I feel that. But then also I know that this tragedy is not something that's going to go away with the start of a new month or a few or even a year. This is going to be something that the LA community is feeling for years and years and years to come. And what has been hopeful and warming and great to see is the way that everyone's coming together. I feel like so many people are volunteering and donating and taking the time to go to the places that need the help and post about it and raise money. And it's just been special to see how much the people here love the people here and love living here and love the community. And I think it's the first time, at least in my living in LA, where all of LA has really had to come together in this way. And so to see those videos and see that sort of humanity has been heartwarming. But of course, we wish that didn't even happen to begin with, right? So yeah, I mean, as far as a check-in on how I'm doing and we're doing here in LA, fortunately, we're all safe and well, which is the most important thing. Of course, deeply feeling the devastation for so many who lost everything. I mean, we have friends we could name, colleagues. I think everyone I know knows multiple people who lost everything. So yeah, we're feeling that, holding space for them, trying to show up, also hoping the fires end. At my time of recording this, there are fires still going on, which is crazy. I remember the very first night we went to bed at like 2 a.m. and that first whole day was really scary. I remember I left therapy and my therapist was like, it's windy today, so, hope the winds don't get you. Like, I don't know, said something about the wind. And I was like, really? It's that windy? Like, I haven't looked at the weather, but I didn't notice. And then it was like that day at like 2 or 3 p.m., we were like turning on the news, realizing that this crisis was happening. And then that night going to bed at like 2 a.m. And I remember waking up the next morning and thinking, wait, what? Like, I was hoping that we would be able to put an end to this and it wouldn't get as bad. And the fact that it's been not 2 days, not 3 days, not 4, not 5, but a whole week. It is a whole week and probably going to be a little bit more than that. It's wild. It's crazy. It's devastating. So I feel like I've just been in a little bit of a down funk, just like feeling and seeing and watching and hearing and helping and it's just so sad. So I feel like I've just been wearing sweats all the time. I have not put makeup on. I'm putting it on today. Just bird the camera. I know I don't have to because real post, real pod, but I just felt like it would get me in the mode of podcasting. I haven't been working out. I just feel like mentally I've had some anxiety this week just with like the fear. It's honestly hard to explain. And so I feel like I'm mentally drained. Like it's harder for me to go to sleep. I'm staying up really late. We had like a few nights there where we were up till 2, 3 a.m. just checking to make sure everything was going to be okay in our area and in my parents' and brother's area. So then I'm tired and I just like, I don't know. I feel like if I go to a workout class, I don't know. I feel like I've been in this stuck place because nothing you do feels right. And even when you help, it still doesn't feel like enough. I've been volunteering in Pasadena and usually when you do volunteer work, you feel like, okay, I've moved the needle. We've helped. You leave hopefully feeling a little bit better. You feel good that you've connected with other people and you've helped them. But that's not how this feels. Because it's like the help is so minuscule and there's so many people who are affected that it's like, it's unlike any sort of tragedy that I've lived in LA. So yeah, my mood's been low, the vibe's been low. I don't feel like I'm socializing a lot. No one really is. Also, this is like everyone. Like I think the things I'm describing is everyone. My friends in LA. I mean, just to give an example, like I said goodbye to Michelle and Ella and some of my friends before break. And there's a few of them I literally haven't even seen. And we've been home for almost all of January now. And it's just like so not a priority for anyone. And everyone just feels like stuck. And everyone just feels so disoriented. The only thing I've really had like the creative energy for up until this point has been a special project I'm working on for 2025. If you're in my broadcast channel and you're a VIP, you'd remember some of the messages I sent about this. I was asking you guys some questions and you were giving me feedback, and that's been a project that's been helping me. I think about being a creator and a creative like the way someone else has a hobby that fills their cup and is good for their mental health. Like for me, working on a creative project, making a video, editing a video, recording a podcast, like that stuff fills my cup because I'm a creative person in that way. So it's been this weird thing where like work feels meaningless, but then also there are things that have to get done and people are working. So I guess the special project is one of those things that feels like good when I'm doing it. So that's been one of my little comforts. And I'm just trying to find ways to do little things that can help replenish my energy so that I can then show up better in this community for the world. But at times like these, you really do feel like you're just at a loss. Yeah. So that is where I am right now. I feel like that's a hodgepodge of stuff. And on top of all that, there's the recognition of how lucky I am and my family is that there are circumstances that are far, 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 far worse. So you're just kind of holding a lot and you have a lot of emotions. And yeah, for anyone else who's feeling the weight of that and is feeling also at a loss, whether it's for words, for emotions, for feelings, for things to do, for how we all wish we could go back in time and prevent this somehow. I feel you. We're going to take our first break and then come back for the chaos. Okay, so as the chaotic life update usually goes, I have a bunch of random topics that feel high on my list or my heart, and I've been thinking about them. Whether it's a point I want to make, I'm venting, I'm bringing you in on something, and I think we have a good lineup today. Where I'm going to start is talking about how I feel my energy in my career has shifted for 2025. I remember it was like January 2nd or 3rd, and I could literally feel it. Like I could sense it. I was like, something's different. This is not usually my energy right now. And to dive deeper into that, I am someone who loves to achieve, and it's a positive and it's a negative, right? There's pros and cons to someone who's driven and loves achievement. It's not purposeless to me. I don't just want to like go be the best pickleball player in the world just to do it. And that like I need to do things that feel purposeful for me. And I feel like that's a big thing I've learned about myself is that I just really like when things are connected to purpose. But I think prior to this year, it feels like I've always been putting myself on an up vertical trajectory. And I think a lot of us can relate to that, right? Like you've always been told how to keep climbing up, climbing the ladder. How do you get the best position on the team? How do you become the smartest in the class? How do you get a promotion at work? It's always like how to be better, how to get better and get the next thing. It's like bigger, more, better. Bigger, more, better. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it helps people be successful. It helps them achieve what matters to them in their lives. But for me, I feel like literally when the clock struck 2025, I didn't have my normal, okay, here's how we're going to go up this year. Here's my like where I want to climb this year. I feel like I'm at this place where I want to like hop off the ladder and journey into like the forest of this level. Does that make sense? If we're sticking with the analogy, like I want to hop off the ladder and I want to spend this year like really wandering, journeying, and growing through the garden that's on this level. For me, what that looks like is, you know, there are some projects I'm working on this year that feel like I'm going left and right. I'm not going up or down. I'm building deeper into something that's already there. Not trying to leave it in the dust and get the next thing. That's been a different energy for me, and it does scare me a little bit because I'm just not used to it. Like I know how to climb up very well. It's what I've been doing my whole life. But that doesn't feel like what I'm called to be doing right now. And called feels like so spiritual and righteous. Like I don't love that word, but I guess I mean like I am feeling pulled to get off the ladder and be where I am and deepen where I am. So I wanted to share that with you because if you're feeling the same way and your approach to work right now is not vertical, that's okay. If you just want to be really good at what you're doing right now, that's okay and that's enough. It's very difficult when we live in this society that's always about the next thing, that bigger, better, more. So then you almost feel like you're not doing the right thing if you don't subscribe to that messaging at the time, right? So that's kind of where my energy, vibe, and head is feeling for 2025 when it comes to work and my career. And if anyone is out there kind of feeling that way as well, I just want you to know I'm right there with you. And I'll definitely be sure to keep checking in with you guys on how that goes. But yeah, I'm glad that I was able to kind of sense that in myself, put words to it, and now try to allow myself to go left and right and not shame myself for not climbing upwards. Also, just to get a little existential because it's a chaotic life update. I don't know if you guys saw this article or this news story. I'm going to pull it up right now. But Kai Cenat, who is a streamer, I saw this article that Kai turned down $60 million. And when he explained why he turned it down, he said, it wasn't right. I couldn't join the platform kick at the time because I realized that not all money is good money. Some money you could take and deals you could sign that would jeopardize everything that you built up. Sometimes you just got to say no. This is cool. It's generational, but I'm more like, what am I stamping on the world? What am I going to be known for? If it don't make sense, I'm not doing it. I had such a great community where I'm at now. why would I leave it? And I just thought that this was so powerful because I think especially the younger generation and our generations, right? We've just been like, you always want to make more money. It's all about more money, being more successful. And to see someone be like, I turned down $60 million because it just didn't feel right. And he said, not all money is good money. And I love where I am. And I don't need to just go up to go up. Like that hit me. Obviously, it's crazy to use that example because he's like a multi-millionaire. But I just really respected him for that move to say, no, I want to stay genuine and real for me and do what I love to do and not just say yes to more and more and more. So I just respected the hell out of that. Another thing I want to talk about that is definitely really random and I don't really know how to like communicate it, but I just think I need to get it out there because it does fire me up. And I think when something fires me up and I want to yap about it, it needs to be included. I have been good at setting boundaries, which I'm very proud of. I also think I've gotten very good at letting things roll off my back. I feel like I frequently take like little hits or jabs and I'm like, that's okay. Like, the stronger person doesn't react. The stronger person gets hit and doesn't hit back, right? Like we don't fight violence with violence. This is all metaphorical. No one's actually hit me. However, I've had this realization where if I don't know when to differentiate between allowing something to roll off my back and standing up for myself and knowing that like I deserve respect, then that's not healthy for me either. Because then I'm just being pushed around and picked apart and almost losing my sense of self because I'm not like protecting it. So for example, I got this DM the other day and it was just, in my opinion, rude. And usually I see things like that and I just keep moving forward. Like I said, it just, I take the hit and I just keep moving forward and I look the other way and I try to be the bigger person. But for some reason on this day, probably with like evacuating my family and not getting sleep and just being like, you know what? No. I responded. And I will say, I wasn't like calling this person names. I didn't say anything I'm not proud of. But I pushed back and I said, hey, actually, no, that's not correct. Here's the situation. And actually, it hurt my feelings that you messaged me this. Please know, like, people on the internet see what you say. Like, it was something like that. And after I was done, I felt good. And I'm struggling to differentiate between if it's like an ego hit. If you listen to Aubrey and I's So Much to Say podcast, you'll know exactly what I mean. Like, I don't want to be like, yeah, I got them. Like, screw them. Like, they suck and I'm better. Like, I don't want that mentality. So I'm struggling to try to get to the vibe that's like, I gave a high quality response of pushback. I respected myself by protecting myself. And also, if this person were to respond and say, oh, that's a good point, I'm sorry. I want to be in a place where I'm like, of course, like, we're back to square one. Like, I don't hold that against you because the ego would hold it against them, right? So I'm trying to figure out how can I, especially on social media, because I feel like when I think about how I react to criticism on social media, it's not good. I feel like I wait for the response and the reaction online to dictate the current for me. And I'm like, okay, we're going really fast and we're going to go left. And then other times I'm like, okay, we're going slow and everything's great. And they threw lilies in the water and it's great. They love it. Like, I think I wait to see what the pulse is and then I go with it. And I don't think that's healthy for me because I need to know that like I set my own temperature. I set my own pace. I determine how I want to view a situation and how I show up for that. So that was just a cool moment for me this past week where I had this eye-opening moment of like, oh, I can stick up for myself. I can push back. I could defend myself. And that's not who I want to be all the time. I never want to be in the comments like back and forth with people. And I hope that if you've ever seen me respond to someone who commented something rude or negative, I really try not to be sassy. I even think when people are like, hi, clearly you must not have a lot of joy in your life, and so you're taking it out on me. I hope your day is better than it is now with a heart. To me, that's still petty AF. Like, when I see those comments, I still think that's so petty. It does not come from a place of love. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think there's responses I see. It's really hard. And trust me, like, I have empathy because it is hard when you have a lot of people judging you and sending you shit all It is hard when you have people judging you and sending you stuff all the time. But I'm like, okay, how can I say enough is enough sometimes? And I'm just not going to let you say this to me like directly in the DMs and think that that's okay. But also, I don't want to get petty and full of ego and be mean, right? So I stood up for myself, and I'm proud that I did that. And as I was telling the story to a friend of mine, she was like, you know what? It's funny you say that, because I have a friend of mine who feels like they're getting pushed around at work and they're being disrespected. And she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, what should I say? And the friend's like, stick up for yourself. Like, that's not okay. And so I felt like I wanted to just share this little epiphany I had in case you might be in a place too where you're like, I want to be a good person. I want to be a conscious being. I don't want to have ego. I don't want to stoop to their level, but sometimes enough is enough and I have time. You know what I mean? That was that moment for me. Okay, I hope you're not sick of me that I'm going to bring up Ozempic again, because I know I just did the whole episode with Ella recently and we were talking about it. And I know I've talked about it quite a bit, but it's hard, okay? It's just hard, and it comes in waves for me. And the little story I want to tell right now is about a few weeks ago. I don't know what triggered it or what happened, but I just started to cry, and Max was with me, and I think we were just talking about stuff. It was really nice. We didn't have our phones on, no TV on. It was just nighttime. We were just talking, and somehow we got towards this topic of Ozempic, and I just started to get teary-eyed, and I was saying to him, it's just hard to sit with the reality of the existence of these weight loss drugs, because I feel like it was so difficult and exhausting, and it took work and energy and time to heal my relationship with food and my body, to do the work, to get to this place. And it feels like now there is a shortcut. There is a skip the line. You don't have to go down into the trenches and fight your way out of the forest. You can just hop on the chairlift and we'll bring you right to the top, right? Like, that's sometimes how I feel like it feels and how it looks, because society has glorified thinness, and now there's like this shortcut to get to this place that we were all told we needed to be at, right? So sometimes it's just hard, and I just felt like that night, damn, like I don't want to get on that and I'm not going to do it, but there's a version of me who would have, and that version of me had to heal and go through a lot of shit to get where I am now. And it feels like it's just like not fair, right? Like it feels like sometimes it feels not fair. However, life's not fair. And also, I love who I am because I had to heal and because I had to figure that stuff out to get where I am now. And if I didn't do that and I didn't have to do that, literally who knows where I would be. Like, that's such a part of my story and such a part of the creation of this platform and this podcast. And so I love it. And I don't wish that it could have been different, right? So sometimes I just have to validate and sit with the fact that, yeah, this is hard. It's hard to feel like a lot of your life you were just trying to get skinny, and that's what everyone said you had to be. And then you rebelled against that and you found a way to develop self-acceptance and body positivity and heal your relationship with food and stop weighing yourself. And I didn't get in photos for a while and, all that stuff. And then now you're seeing that people don't have to do that anymore. That is hard. That is hard to sit with. And so I'm just trying to validate for myself. Like, it makes sense that sometimes you have these feelings and it comes up like this, and that's okay. We're humans and we're going to have emotions, but also I love who I am. I love how I heal, and I love where I am. So I wouldn't make any changes, and I don't have any regrets, and I don't have any wishes. Sometimes it's just hard to sit with things. So that's my mini little story on what's been new with my body image and all that stuff these days. There's 2 more chaotic things I want to hit on before I let you go. I almost feel like I'm like a teacher. I'm like, before I let you leave, I'm going to keep yapping about some of this stuff. So thank you for listening. These are good though. Why did we save the best for last? Tell me if you want therapy session first or being Aubrey's maid of honor. I'm going to try to like sense through the podcast. Like, what are they thinking right now as they like do their laundry or drive their car, or go on a walk? Like, do you want therapy session first or Aubrey maid of honor? Why do I feel like you're telling me Aubrey maid of honor? Because we kind of just had like a bunch of deep shit and you're like, give me a break before we do the therapy session. Let's end on the therapy session. That's what I'm catching your vibe as. I hope that I'm not wrong. You need to message me today and be like, you read my mind, or be like, no, I wanted to end on the high note. Fuck, you guys want to end on the high note? Damn, I don't know. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Fuck, wait, I don't know which to do. Okay, I'm going to do let's do Aubrey. Let's take a quick breather. Let's talk about me being a maid of honor. And then let's finish with something that will be a thought starter as you go through the rest of your week. I'm definitely going to do a larger episode on how I'm approaching being a maid of honor, what being a maid of honor means to me, any advice and tips I have for people out there who are someone's maid of honor, or you're a bridesmaid, or you just want to show up for someone you love during their bridal year and their wedding time. So it's been going great. I'm literally loving it. Actually, in the beginning, I was feeling like a little overwhelmed and a little intimidated, and honestly, like a lot of self-doubt had crept in. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so much to do. Like, I've got to make sure that this weekend is perfect. I've got to do all these things. I've also got to write this speech. Like, I've got to show up at the appointments. I've got to check in. Like, I was like, oh my God, I hope I do well. I've never planned a girls' trip for 9 people before. So I'm like, I hope I don't forget any details. And I just think Aubrey did such an incredible job for me. Like, everything was perfect. She absolutely killed it. And so it's like, of course, I want to give that back to her. And I think I was just feeling stressed because I hadn't started yet. So these emotions I'm describing to you, I was feeling in December. I was like, oh my gosh, the new year's going to be here before we know it. And the batch is in April and the wedding's in October. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get going. But when I took that flight to Kentucky, so I left Seattle when we were spending Christmas at Max's family, and I went to Kentucky for a quick work event. It was awesome. It was with LG Electronics for their Transparent Conversations campaign. I recorded a podcast at the Women's Volleyball National Championship. It was so much fun and it was so meaningful. That's coming out soon. Stay tuned. But on the flight there, I literally went ham. I connected to the Wi-Fi. I was planning. I was pulling up things. I was coming up with themes that felt new and original. And I felt like I had thought of personal touches and things that Aubrey would love. And I literally remember having this moment where I was like, Victoria, how did you for a second think you could not do this? I'm like, you were made for this. You were built for this. And it was one of those funny moments where our mind can be so tricky. It can tell us oh my God, there's so much stuff. You're never going to get it done. What if you make a mistake? What if she's not happy? Blah, blah, blah. And it's that is such negative and not helpful energy. Why do we let our thoughts do that? I literally snapped out of it so hard and was like, you are fucking slaying. You can do this. It's going to be amazing. You're creative. You're a planner. You're type A. And then all of a sudden I felt amazing and I got so much done. And now it's pretty much all planned. I'm literally crazy. It's still months and months and months away. And I'm so done that I'm almost holding off on alerting the rest of the girls what the trip is going to be, because I almost want, I don't want them to lose steam. I don't want to send it all now and then they'll be like, wait, but the trip's in 4 months. You know what I mean? So I feel I'm trying to slow roll it, even though I'm mostly done. But I just thought that was funny that I was so intimidated and nervous. And then now I'm wait, it's all good. So just another little reminder that our thoughts are so powerful, and our thoughts dictate our emotions, which dictate our actions. So it all starts with the thoughts. Lastly, you made it. I'm going to end with something I've been talking about in therapy and thinking about in my everyday life. My therapist has given me this new word, optimizing, and she's basically helped me realize that optimizing is something I do in all aspects of my life. And it's why I get tired, mentally overstimulated. I don't want to do a lot of big social events. I dread hosting sometimes, and I overthink interactions, even with the people I love. Doesn't that sound fun? Yeah, that's a little bit of me. So she was helping me understand, and this is a long story short, after sessions and me asking questions and describing situations. But basically, optimizing is this thing I do where I try to look at any situation I'm in and think about how it could be even better. So, which also ties back to the very beginning of this podcast episode. But an example would be when I go to a dinner restaurant and we all sit down, all 6 of us sit down. I will literally think, wait, but if we were all sitting at that table, that's such a better table. That table has a view. That table is getting the fresh air. It's round. I literally can't. It's very hard for me to be content in a present moment situation without looking around and thinking about how it could be better. That's a very, very small, trivial example. I think some other examples would be if I'm having people over and I'm am I asking enough questions? Do they feel happy? Are they having fun? Do they want more snacks? Do they want another drink? Does everyone have a place to sit? Does everyone like what we're watching on TV? Should we switch the movie? My mind's constantly doing that. And then when I do that for hours and hours and hours, if I spend a 5-hour day with a group of friends that are maybe not necessarily my immediate friends, but they're possible friends or people we're hanging out with and we're building relationships, I like leave that feeling so drained because the whole time in the back of my mind is like this, like optimizing everything. So I've been trying to work on catching myself when that happens because it takes me out of the present moment, right? And a strategy that my therapist and I have come up with is these 3 little tips that can help me kind of get out of that optimizing mindset. So the first one is breathe. So when I catch it happening, and actually I'm going to tell you the dumbest story, but it's literally like, this is what happened. Max and I landed in Sun Valley to visit Aubrey and Wood for the ski trip that you might have saw on Instagram. And when we landed, I literally was like, where's your new winter jacket? And he was like, oh, fuck, I forgot it. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. And I was like, you forgot the brand new winter jacket that we bought for you in London, literally for the purpose of this Sun Valley and then Seattle winter trip. Like literally, we live in California. We don't need a nice winter jacket. It was literally for these 2 weeks. And he's like, yeah, shit, I forgot it. And for me, it's like, I'm immediately like, oh my gosh, this jacket, like I had fixated on he'd be wearing the jacket here and it was going to work with some of his outfits for these nights. And how could you forget it? And now you're going to be wearing this other jacket. Like I recognize that this sounds dumb as fuck. Okay. I recognize that, but like, this is what happens in my brain. And so we get in the car and like Aubrey and Wood, they're all excited. They're like, hi guys, we're so happy you're here. You know, we can't wait, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm excited and I'm happy. But in my mind, I'm like, the jacket, like I should have reminded him to pack it. How did he forget it? Like it was so expensive. And like, now you're not going to wear it for 2 years. Like my brain is still trying to optimize how this trip and this moment would be better if he just had the jacket, which is so silly, right? But when it happens in my brain, I like can't catch it. So I remembered these 3 things that my therapist said I should try when I catch myself optimizing. So the first one is to breathe. So just take a really big deep breath. I think for so many things we deal with in life, the power of a big deep breath is underrated. The big deep breath helps slow everything down, calm everything down, and bring clarity to the mind. It's almost like you're blowing all the thoughts out of your brain. So I did that. Then reorient. Talk through the fact that this is really not a big deal at all. Everything's fine. This is literally not that big of a deal. We're going to have an amazing time. Max has clothes. He has another jacket. Like basically bringing myself back down to earth about how silly this really is. And then the third thing is to ground. So now that we're back down to earth, to really throw ourselves into the present moment. So I remember I put my hand on Max's thigh. We were sitting next to each other in the car and I gave him a kiss on the cheek. You know, this whole time he doesn't know I'm this frustrated because I'm also like, don't want to like damper his vibes and, you know, bring any negativity on him. People forget things. Humans forget things. This goes back to reorient. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like, but this just happens in my brain. Okay. So now we're on ground. So I put my hand on his thigh. I gave him a kiss on the cheek. I tried to ask Aubrey what a question, you know, did you guys go out skiing today? How's the mountain? And like really ground myself back into this moment. So breathe, reorient, ground. And that's been helping me a lot when it comes to the optimizing. Well, that's all the time we have today, folks. I feel like this chaotic life update wasn't as chaotic as those in the past. I feel like it was a pretty concise, organized life update. So that's good. That's new for me. We're growing. I so appreciate you listening. I hope that there were some fun thought starters here, some things you can reflect on, think about in your own life. I love you guys all so, so much. Hopefully in 2025, we have another opportunity to do Real Pod IRL so we can be together. But for the time being, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.